the question we often get from customers, but also potential customers, is how often or how frequently do you need to change the prices? And yeah, this is the answer we can give. It's a familiar quote. You should be updating your pricing as often as the market requires and allows. So there's no general rule of thumb to answer this question. How frequently you need to change the price. It's completely dependent on the market circumstances, but also about your internal processes. For example, for a B2B company, you can do this once a month or once a quarter. For a B2C company, yeah, you could do this daily or multiple times a day. To give you a little bit more information where these market circumstances come from, I will show the next slide. And this gives you an overview of the value chain, where you see on the beginning of the value chain, of course, the manufacturers, the companies that produce goods and products. And later in the chain, you have distributors, wholesale customers, wholesalers, and retailers. And of course, in the end, you have the end consumers, who could be either B2B or consumers, B2C. But when it comes to pricing, we see differences in a couple of dimensions. You see them on the right side. First of all, it's the price changes. You see a difference in the number of price changes in the beginning compared to the end. So in the manufacturing, factories have less frequent price changes because there are long-term contracts. And later in the value chain, you see that more price changes could happen because there's more drivers you need to take into account. There's more competition, but also the availability of products could be a factor, or the customer behavior. You also see a difference in the dimension of transaction value. In manufacturer, you could have a larger transaction value and smaller, of course, in later in the chain at retail or e-commerce side. And also the number of customers and their relation is different. In retail, you could potentially have thousands of customers which you don't know by person. And in manufacturing side, you could also have thousands of customers, but you often know them by person. You know more of the buyer. There is already a certain relation. Also, the stakeholders could differ. So we see that in manufacturing side, for example, sales is a big stakeholder in deciding what's an optimal discount. And later in the value chain, you see that the stakeholder, for example, category management or marketing or e-commerce is involved. Three other dimensions. We have the pricing strategy that could be different. Manufacturing, you see, you start at the cost. So you have a very good process of knowing what is a good cost price based on the raw material, maybe also R&D cost and labor costs. Later in the value chain, you could differ with different pricing strategies because the market becomes more transparent. So you could have a competitor pricing, or a dynamic pricing can be applied based upon the factors that are relevant in this particular market. The last one is the level of automation and the price communication. Level of automation also differs. We see in retail and e-commerce that prices are often more automated because there's a very structured price process. And more earlier in the value chain, it could be that there's more flexibility in deciding what's an optimal discount. And price communication, of course, you see in the retail and e-commerce, that's more transparency. Competitive prices are easier to get. And in B2B manufacturing distribution, this is often hidden behind the login. So there are big differences why you could change your prices more often than the others. The bottom line in this is that in all parts of the value chain, a price engine could add value. And this is where we're going to talk about today. Within Simpson, and our approach is that we also take a look where is the data intensive task and where is the manual repetitive task in the price process. And this could be different per type of company.